there and welcome, and in this video we're going to be discussing an article that's recently published in the Daily Express regarding an interview with Monty Don where he advises one job that you should never do in March. In fact, he says this job should be delayed until June. I'll tell you what the job is, I'll tell you why he's right, but I'll also tell you about a big problem that has occurred. And it's because there's been a horticultural practice regarding this, which even I was taught about at college, but it just creates a mess in the garden, and you know I don't like mess in the garden. Anyway, we'll get into it. Before I go, after that, I'm going to tell you one job that Monty Don says you have to do in March. So you get a not and a have to. We'll see where we get to, and you can decide what you think and put that in the comments if you want to. So let's get on with it. Let's start off with what is this job that Monty Don says you should never ever do in March. I'll tell you. Now, this is all to do with your spring bulbs, and we love spring bulbs. In fact, if you don't love spring bulbs, there's probably something wrong with your heart. You should probably see a doctor. Now, here in the UK, we plant them everywhere. We plant bulbs in pots, we plant them in the borders, we plant them in the lawns, and here lies the problem with what do you do with your bulbs once they have finished flowering. Because those leaves can be a bit untidy, and the temptation to start choppity chop and take the leaves off. But I'll explain why you wouldn't do that in March. Now, the bulb itself is a specialist storage organ, and it's evolved like this in order to cope with its native habitat. They originate really around Turkey, the sort of Middle East, these sort of areas where you get long, hot, dry summers, and during those periods of long, hot, dry summers, the bulb goes dormant and it holds on to all the nutrients that it's managed to store in itself prior to that in the spring and winter period. So when you have a bulb that's finished flowering and it's got its leaves out, all it's trying to do is to absorb all the nutrition from the leaves back into the bulb, ready for the summer where it goes dormant again. So if you start cutting back all those leaves to make it look tidy, then that's all energy and nutrition and starches that the plant does not then have available for it for the following spring. And it needs those because producing those big bulby blooms like tulips is energy expensive. Now, if you are finding the information in this video useful or perhaps just mildly amusing and you'd like to pass it on, then by all means press the like button. It supports this channel immensely and helps us do what we do. Don't forget, you can also click onto the subscription button. Subscription is absolutely free and you can unsubscribe at any time. It doesn't cost you anything, and if you want to be notified whenever we publish a new video, then all you need to do is click on that notification bell. Anyway, let's continue to find out what old Boyle Belt has to say. So what is best for your bulb is for you to leave the leaves on, allow the nutrition to be naturally drawn back into the bulb, and not for you to cut the leaves. So as far as that is concerned, Monty Don is absolutely correct. You do not cut the leaves of bulbs back in March. You wait until June once they've naturally dried back. I mean, really, if you're waiting until June, they've probably all gone dry and blown away in the wind. But it becomes a problem when you grow your bulbs in the lawn. And I remember being told in class that you'd to give you that naturalized bulb look, you get a handful of bulbs, you throw them over your shoulder, and then where they land, you dig them into the ground. So come the spring, when they flower, it has a natural, lovely look. But in the spring, this time of year, March, and I know they're in flower because I've seen them all in flower around, your lawn's going to start growing, and you're looking at your lawn going, well, I need to cut that. And then you've got all your bulbs in your lawn, you're thinking, well, I don't really want to cut those. So what you do, you start meandering your lawnmower around the bulbs, and you have these tufty, grassy bits and old daffodil leaves. It's probably daffodils you planted in there, and it looks awful. I really hate that. So even though we were taught how to do this back in college when I was a young whippersnapper gardener. I wouldn't do it on my lawn. Although to be fair, I do grow crocuses in my front lawn, because I saw a wonderful display at Wisley a few years back and wanted to repeat that. But the thing is, crocus leaves, they don't get very big like that. So you can allow those leaves to stay in the lawn. I don't mind the lawn getting a little bit long at that point in time. But when it comes to cutting it, you can cut it a bit high. The leaves of the crocus are still there, so you'll still get a display the following year. We've been doing that for the last 2 years, and each year that display has improved and those bulbs have grown and got bigger. So to conclude, Monty Don is right about the timing. He's right about why you should do it, and it's us, not me. Well, I did do it in the front lawn, but all you people who put daffodils in your lawns, I don't advise it, and that's where we all trip up. So there you go. That's the job that Monty Don says you should never do in March. But let's get on to the one job he says you must do in March. Well, I kind of touched on it earlier, and it's starting to mow your lawns. I mean, it doesn't really need to be said, does it? But he has written that in an article saying in March you must do this one job, and you read it and it's mowing your lawns. But don't mow your lawns too short at this time of year. You only really want to give it a light touch off the top. Now, our lawns here haven't really moved at all, but I have seen them around the town where they have started getting a little bit long. So you do get some at odds advice. Some people say, oh, you only take it down to 1/3 of its original length, or no more than 1/2 inch. You know, all this old flannel, but it all depends on how fast your lawn is growing. If you stuck to this only cut back by 1/3, you'd probably be mowing it 3 times a week come the spring, and no one's got time for that. So you will need to do a lawn cut in March. I definitely would do it. Just be aware that the lawns can still be very wet. You do not want to put a heavy mower on a wet lawn, because it will sink and it will bring up mud up to and covering your grass. So that's a really bad idea. So wait for your soil to be dry. Make sure your lawnmower is working first. If you've got petrol mower and you've not been starting it over the winter time periodically, it might not start at all. So have a look at that first. Make sure that all your equipment still works. Don't laugh, it's not funny. And yes, you will be mowing. Make sure conditions are fine first. So there you have it. The 2 jobs that Monty Don says you shouldn't do, and one that you should do. If there's anything you would like to add to that, you are more than welcome to do so. Just put that in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.